Good morning, everybody, or evening, or whatever it happens to be where you are. Welcome to Milk Mother. I am the Milk Mother. I am the Milk Mother. Nina is actually in the room with me today because our darling dog we had her desexed yesterday. She could be poking her head in from time to time. Hey, Louie, nice to have you here. Today we are, okay, just because I know it is a little bit of a freaky title. We did end up in pediatric emergency this week for something that we shouldn't have been in pediatric emergency for, at no fault of our own. But we did end up there today. So in this video, I'm going to chat about how we ended up there, why we ended up there, what led us there. But yes, to ease people's hearts, because Louis is here saying that title really gets the heart going. Yeah, I was hoping by saying a non-urgent pediatric emergency, we would that would take the urgency out of the feeling behind that. But basically, yeah, I woke up this morning, I was like, "Oh my gosh," we had all these messages from friends and family being like, "Is everything okay?" Which everything is okay. But I guess it could have not been. But it's good. It's good that we ended up there. Basically, I'll get to the end of it at the start of it, and then we'll go through the story of how we got there to try to not have this be more dramatic than it should be. Emily she had an umbilical granuloma that needed attention, and because we have this situation here in Australia where there's so much that's wonderful about our healthcare system, but one of the things that is not is often it takes like a week to get in to see a GP. Is that what GPs are called all over the world? A doctor, like your family doctor. There's like a long wait time. Yeah, yeah, very I mean, to see our doctor, sometimes it's like 2 weeks, but if you wanna go and see somebody else there at the same clinic or anywhere that you hopefully feel safe and like you can trust what's going on, it can take yeah, I called, yes, was it yesterday that we were there? Was that yesterday? Day before? Oh my gosh. I called and it was like, "Yeah, good luck, finding anywhere. You need to go to Women's and Children's." So, we're all good, but I will tell you the little story of how we got there. Um, so our darling girl was born with, like, quite a chunky old umbilical cord. Um, like, a couple of the midwives saw it and were like, "Whoa, that's a whopper." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great. That's like, is that a problem?" No, but they were like, "It should fall off within like 7 to 14 days." And we got to like 20 days and it was still hanging on. Not really interested in falling off. And what nobody told us is super duper common is that when an umbilical cord stays on for that long, one of the things that can happen is it can lead to this thing that happens. I read somewhere that it's super common. I read somewhere else that it's 1 in 500. I guess it's 1 in 500 is still pretty common considering the amount of people that are born. But yeah, it can develop this thing called an umbilical granuloma, and like, you can only really see it if you press on the belly button, which you don't wanna do, because the sign that she has it is, like, this ooziness from her belly button. So we were like, "We shouldn't tamper with that too much. We should just let it be and let it have air," and all that sort of stuff. And also, no one gave us any reason to be concerned about it, and it was fine, and it should have just healed on its own. It should have just been all good. Um, but we got to the 8-week appointment. Here we are super lucky to have these government-funded health checks at I think it's 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 weeks, something like that. And so we got to the 8-week check, and the midwife that was taking care of me and Emily was like, this needs to be dealt with today. And because she's 8 weeks old, it should have healed by now. And it's.
And when we'd seen the doctor previously.
Oh, Nina's here. Come jump in if you'd like to join in the conversation.
Sorry, I'm patting the dog's head.
The other exciting thing that happened here this week at our house was our dear Poppy girl, our dog. We had her spayed.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, look at my. Oh, I just woke up, quite evidently.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's 6:30 a.m. here. What's the time where everyone else is?
But I was going to say, when we'd gone to the doctor previously, like for the other regular checks. Oh, sorry. When we'd gone to the doctor previously for the other like checks, they had looked at it and seen it, and but it wasn't of concern at that point.
Yeah,
so it was like it's not like it went unnoticed or anything. But
yeah, so at the 6-week appointment, we were given this ointment to put on it, and that can fix it all, make it all good, but it didn't. So yeah, so we're doing everything that we could to take care of it.
Yeah.
But it just was like stubbornly not healing. So yes. So I called the GP to make an appointment, and they were like, we can get you in a week. And then there's this amazing resource. I know that there's people who are watching who are not watching from Australia. So this is not going to be something that'll be helpful for you. But I'm hoping that somebody in the comments is going to let us know the equivalent in different parts of the world if you have it. Like, I know we're super lucky to have access to this here. So I'm going to share it on my screen now. It's called Health Direct, which is, we'll give that a little full screen moment. So this is a place that you can go, or like a phone number that you can call. There's a symptom checker. I don't know, you might be able to access this from other parts of the world, or it might cut you out because you're not looking, because it's a government website. So you can check your symptoms, or there's 24-hour health advice that you can count on. So this is going to be super helpful for people who live in Australia. But if you live in other parts of the world, please let us know if there's anything similar and where you can access that from. And we'll add that to the the description of this video, because we've called this number a couple of times with things that you go like, is that like, is this an emergency? Like, where do we go to get help for this, or like, is it okay to wait? Because we have these long GP wait times. It's like, I had something going on last week that I was like, is it okay for me to wait a week to have this seen to, or do I need to go to urgent care? Or
and I like the other day you mentioned as well, calling this health line Health Direct was like, it meant that you didn't just go and see an emergency as well.
Yeah.
Or call it, not that you needed to call an ambulance, but because fair enough, when you get scared and there's a medical thing happening, people understandably freak out and go, oh my gosh, I need to go quickly now to the hospital. And then that means that they're sitting in a wait room and also, ramping. There's a lot of issues with ambulance ramping in South Australia in particular. So it's just, it also reduced that, which was great. So it's good to talk about those things, to say, hey, there's also this other resource that,
I think a lot of the time, I think the dog's eating some of the baby's clothes.
I'll get the dog.
I think a lot of the time, it's just such a tricky thing, because if you're freaking out and you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do, then of course you should go to emergency if you're super worried. But then obviously I was like, we've got this situation that I know I can just see a GP for, yet I'm having to go to emergency to get that dealt with, which then clogs up the emergency department with these situations that could be. And when we were there, like, it was pretty evident that the staff there was so understanding when I was like, oh yeah, we tried to go to the doctors about this, but we can't get in for a week. And they were like, you've come to the right place. Because even though like they had looked at it and it was not showing any signs of infection, this the granuloma is like a potential site for nasties to enter our darling little baby's body. So even though it wasn't infected, it could have very quickly become infected. And like the longer it's there for and the longer it's not healing for, like the more likely that's going to happen. And obviously, once you get an infection in an 8-week-old baby, it's like it does become really serious. Yeah. So, uh, but we had a very I went to emergency a few times when I was pregnant for things like reduced movement that was freaking me out. And I at one point I had this horrendous headache that wasn't going away, which is one of the indicators of preeclampsia, which we spoke about in another video. Um, and yeah, so I went there a few times, and because those situations that I was going in for are not like super urgent, obviously you get triaged lower, so you don't get seen very quickly. But turns out when you go with a 58-day-old baby, they kept saying that. I haven't been counting the days, only 8 weeks, but I haven't been counting the days. So she's 60 days old today, Nan. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, so you go through pretty quickly when you have a tiny little baby. But our experience there was very pleasant, and I felt very grateful. Like, I mean, pleasant's not the right word. It's never nice being in an emergency department, but I was just so glad. Like, this thing has been worrying me for a while, because normally they'll just belly buttons will heal themselves up real quick. Like, I'd love to know from everyone, if from people who have had a baby, like what's your experience been like with the healing of belly buttons? Because I feel like this is something that they don't really. No one warned us that like an umbilical cord can take such a long time to fall off. No one warned us the complications that can happen with an umbilical cord that takes a while to fall off. Like, and the fact that it's such a common thing just made me go, why is this not something that they warn you about when you leave the hospital? Or like, why have I never heard of this before? So yeah, and particularly this condition, I'd love to know who's had this happen with their baby, and how did you deal with it? What was the outcome? So yeah, I that was kind of a full on thing to happen. And since this has happened, I have met another person who has recently had a baby whose baby also has this. So it's like it's so common and no one knows what to do. So yeah, I think this is just such a helpful resource. And that's really the thing. The biggest thing that happened in our week for sure. So for people who are in Australia, that's yeah. Do you know, Louis? Do you know if you have anything like this in New Zealand? And Wendy, got a New Zealand crowd today, and thank you so much for jumping in, Jennifer. It's nice to see that you were, but you will be there again. That's very lovely. Yeah, beautiful.
Sorry.
Here we go.
Sorry if
sorry. What
I'm
was that?
poking around in the background because the dog's got the cone on his on her head, and
Yeah.
she's just poking around.
She's looking gorgeous, but she has got a big cone on her head to keep her safe from her stitches. Louis says, I think the reason I get startled by the title is partially because sometimes you get told something is urgent and you have to wait. And if it's your baby you're waiting for, it is awful. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's how could I write this title that's less, because I can change the title. So I would love people to let me know, what do you think the title of this video should actually be? That would be great. Yes. Okay, cool. So Louis says that there's a service called Healthline. So yeah, in Australia, we've got Health Direct. In New Zealand, we've got Healthline. So there's in a couple of countries so far, we've got a list of numbers you can call if you're just not sure, is this something that can wait or should I be going to the emergency department? Yeah, totally helpful, and I'm sure it's gonna be something that we're going to use having a little one. I'm sure it's something we're gonna be using a fair bit over the years. Yeah, so that's really the biggest thing that happened for us this week. Um, yeah. Did anything else? Oh gosh, again, I said last week about how amazingly helpful it has been having my parents here staying with us. And yeah, they were here to help. I asked them if they would come and stay to help take care of Poppy because I thought she's a bundle of energy. And I was like thinking, how am I going to juggle like feeding a baby, changing a baby, doing all this that I need to do with the baby and giving her attention while also giving a dog that's recovering from what is major surgery. People say spaying, it's a hysterectomy. Let's be really real about what that is. It's huge. And Poppy's an absolute bundle of energy and she's very, very sweet, but she's a big cuddler. And she has got a thing where when new people arrive at the house, she goes absolutely bananas. So yeah, mum and dad came to help with Poppy because dad is Poppy's best friend in the whole wide world. And it was just like, it was unbelievably helpful. I'm so glad that we had them here. Yeah, because it was not expected. And I don't know what I would have done without them, to be honest. But I probably would have said, Nina, can you please come home from work?
I
And
would have had to come home from work. So
that's probably what would have happened.
We love you.
Yeah. Yeah, Marianne, hello. Thank you for being here. Marianne says, always trust your gut instinct with any baby concerns and best to get things checked out. Yeah, they're just too small. I mean, I think that goes for anything. Like, yeah, with grown-up humans, but especially with tiny little humans, when they can't tell you what hurts, like she couldn't say, oh gosh, my tummy's real sore. So we really have to trust our guts. Hey, trust me guts. My brother, hooray for mum and dad. Yes, hooray indeed.
Dylan, your dad has become, he's such a cuddler as well. He cuddles Emily so much. It's so
yeah
sweet.
Yeah, it's been very lovely watching my dad. Mum, from the second Emily was here, was like, give her here, in a very loving way, and a very respectful way. But dad was a little bit more, oh, I don't really want to break her, but he's just started asking for holds and stuff, which is very, very sweet. Yeah, it's warming the very cockles of our hearts. Yeah, so that's what happened this week. Did anything else happen?
Sorry,
like we've had beautiful visits from beautiful loved ones. It's been so nice seeing everyone enjoying Emily. Yeah, and
Poppy's wagged her little tail when she came home from the desexing, and I said, "Poppy, look, here's Emily," and Claire said, "Here's Emily," and then she was like, "Poor Love's all doped out and exhausted," and then her tail was wagging.
So cute.
Very sweet.
So cute. Christy wants to know how long Poppy needs her cone for.
10 days.
Yeah, so it's coming off next Saturday. So that once she starts getting her energy back, that's going to be fun. But
which is why I'm not walking her this morning, because it's raining. It's absolutely pouring outside, so she can't get wet. Yeah, you got to make sure it's because it's only a day old, but by tomorrow she should be right, or even this afternoon once it's not raining, we can get her outside and have
Yeah.
a little walk, but she just can't run. She tried to run a little bit last night and jump.
Oh,
and
dear.
all my insides just went cold. I was like, oh my gosh.
Her
run after
insides were
her.
probably pretty scared
yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yes, so that's it was very sweet. In the middle of the night, I had like such a horrendous cramp, like the kind that makes you wake up and scream and wake everyone in the house up.
And I'm sleeping in the lounge room with Poppy at the moment because she's just a bit of a lost soul. She just wakes up and like bumps into the coffee table and stands there for like 10 minutes confused. So I slept on the couch and I heard this shrieking, this screaming.
Oh my gosh, I was
in the
trying to be
bedroom.
so quiet, but I wasn't able to be.
I've of course thought the worst, sprinted in.
But I woke up the baby. Like, that's not how it's supposed to be. But I've definitely woken the baby up. So I'm screaming, the baby's screaming. So
I
Nina
felt
comes
bad
in
because I ran in, completely disregarded you, and went straight to Emily. I was like, what do I need to do? And then I realized Emily's like, she was just waking. You hadn't told, like, she wasn't wide awake. She was just kind of like wiggly worming. And I'm like, she's definitely fine. What's going on? And then I look at poor Claire, and look, they are scary.
Oh,
but Claire just had like the most intense, major foot cramp. But
calf. It was in my calf.
Leg cramp thing.
And I had my hand on my calf, and you know when you can feel the muscle like freaking out? Oh, it was disgusting. But so Nina takes Emily away to change her, and then I've just here like smacking around like poor Poppy. Poor Poppy was coming to check if I was okay.
Because it just sounds like someone's got an empty ice cream container and they're just running it along the wall. So I sort of heard that and I thought, oh, bugger, I've left the gate open. Poppy's come through, poor darling.
Yeah, Poppy.
And then I came back into the bedroom and she's just sat herself down at your feet looking so happy that she'd come to make sure you're all right. It was sweet.
She's gorgeous. If you'd like to follow Poppy's adventures, you can follow her at Poppy McSara on Instagram. But yeah, with all of that, it's time to go.
It's time to go.
It's time to go. I can hear the baby stirring. I'm going to give her a feed and we're going to have some breakfast.
Do you know what? You've just put that song in my head. I can hear the baby stirring. I hear the train coming. That Johnny Cash song. I'm going.
It's coming around the bend.
Ding, ding, ding,
I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when.
See?
Oh, okay. We're like
so there
them.
you go, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
There you go. Everyone go listen to Johnny Cash.
Why not?
Saturday, right.
What a great day. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Milk Mother. I'm the Milk Mother. This is the Cuddle Mother. What a wonderful treat to have a special appearance from the Cuddle Mother.
Love y'all.
Bye.